Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of CNB. I am Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. Yes, we are still working from home. The whole country is in lockdown. It's no different with us. And I know we keep hearing about how media can step out, but we're doing our responsible thing. The car and bike team continues to work from home. Luckily, we continue to also have fresh content to bring you. So this is our third work from home episode, and I genuinely hope you enjoy it. It's turned into a bit of an EV special. Now, I promise you, the content that you see today, it's all been pre-shot. We did not step out during the lockdown to film any of this, but yes, it's fresh content that we've been saving up for you. So it was a few days ago that I had the chance to put the Kona Electric versus the ZS EV to the test. Now, these two cars are kind of similar in profile, not exactly the same. The Kona arrived in the middle of last year. The ZS arrived at the start of this year. And of course, you want to know which is the better buy once you can get out there and start driving again. Here is this very interesting, very electric comparison. The world is changing, sometimes not as quickly as we'd like. But EVs or electric vehicles are now a reality, and they're here for good. Sure, we have a few offerings at best, but that will change. The Hyundai Kona Electric's arrival in July last year set the ball rolling. While it was not India's first EV, it certainly was one of the most plush, practical, credible mass brand offerings in the EV space. And then earlier this year, the MG ZS EV got here too. Now, while they're not exactly alike, they do make for a spicy face-off. First, let's focus on the looks, shall we? The Kona Electric first. I've liked the Kona for some time now, mainly for its compact footprint. That applies to the ICE and electric versions since they have the same body dimensions and shape. So the Kona is well proportioned, well built, and really fits the urban requirements perfectly. And yes, that's also what a lot of buyers are looking for these days. And then throw in its modern looks. Well, that will attract a lot of people too. The face, with its slim lights up top treatment, is in keeping with Hyundai's new SUV design language. Well, it gets accentuated on the EV, and so we don't have the regular one, we only get the EV. So look at that, there is no front grille, and so when you see one of these coming from a great distance, you straight away know what car this is, and that perhaps is the whole point. Now, I'm not going to tell you which is the better looking car because you've got to decide that. Very subjective. I will that I agree this is a nice modern looking product, but that is exactly why its looks are very polarizing. So some people will find that extremely appealing. They'll also like the fact that it wears its EV tag, well, not on its sleeve, but on its face. In this case, you get a car that's more conventional looking. It looks bigger, it looks more SUV proportion, especially when you put them together. So to a lot of people who don't necessarily want to announce the fact that they have an EV or just like the way a regular car looks, this is going to work better. So it may be the safer design, but I do think that it's therefore the more appealing one. On the inside, the Kona looks better built and comes across as more premium, but the cabin is definitely small, possibly not much bigger than on a premium hatchback. The plastics feel good, but the palette is a bit dull. The 7-inch touchscreen is the central piece to the dash layout and offers Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation and more. Then there are the ventilated seats, the wireless phone charging and driver-only air conditioning option, which keeps the throw of cold air limited to the driver's seat when needed, thereby reducing energy consumption. The ZS EV's cabin straightaway looks roomier, but would have looked even bigger had it got lighter tones instead of all black. There are two variants and the top spec matches, in fact outdoes, the Kona on features. An 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation and also the inbuilt eSIM connected iSmart features like on the Hector. There's also a panoramic sunroof, a PM 2.5 air filter and more. Both cars get 6 airbags, electronic stability control or ESC and anti-lock brakes or ABS as standard. ISOFIX child seat mounts are also standard, so both do well on safety, and each claims high levels of crash safety, but we do not have crash test results for an Indian built one. Both cars are assembled in India. Three different drive modes and also 3 levels of regenerative braking. In fact, you put it into the third one using the paddle shifts, and you can almost go single pedal, which is kind of fun. But that's a lot like many other EVs, so I won't go on about that. It is the overall drive, performance and feel of the car that is its USP when you're on the road, and by that I am indicating its sporty handling. It does a good job of cornering, and again, it kind of throws you because you don't expect an EV typically to do that, but that's how good the EVs are getting these days. Now, it's the steering that's a little bit too soft for my liking, but for the most part, buyers or even users who have tried out the Kona EV have found it very comfortable, very easy to drive, very easy to get used to. Yes, the car drives well, and the experience was very similar to the time I spent with the Kona Electric in Korea last year too. The car is a credible electric vehicle because it doesn't just focus on being green, but instead also offers driving pleasure. The claimed range is 452 kilometers, though in the real world expect 360 or so. Now the Kona is definitely the sportier of the two, and so a little bit more driver oriented. It's the comfort on this car that will grab you though. It's the right quality. It is surprising and it's very supple. You still sit sort of tall from an SUV perspective, but especially for Indian road conditions, you'll find the right quality really works well. It's also very different to the Hector, I can tell you. And it is going to be the one big USP because a lot of people, in terms of their usage, there'll be family usage. They might even have a chauffeur driving them. Yeah, they'll find this more comfortable. The roomier back seat will help that cause. The ZS EV's driving range is 340 kilometers, and MG says that the real-world figures will still stay above 300. The car is easy to drive, its steering is also fairly responsive, and it will surprise you in many ways with its road manners, which far outshine its sibling, the Hector. Both cars have the 50-minute fast charging option as well as the conventional slow charger that uses a regular plug. Hyundai and MG have each invested in some partnerships to provide charging points around the country, and especially in the cities where these cars are on sale. So MG matches Hyundai's plan to have not just an outsourced network, fast chargers at its dealerships and the home charging installation, but it does one better, where in an emergency you can also call for roadside assistance to give you a boost charge, allowing you to get to your destination or nearest charging point. So MG has this better covered and intends to grow this out further since it has more EVs coming. A quick look at the prices, and yes, both have tried to be as aggressive as was possible given our customs duties. And you'd have to think that MG tried a little bit harder here. So the verdict then, which one should you buy? I have been impressed with the Kona right from the first time I ever drove one, because it's a well-conceived and then well-executed product. It was done for the right reasons, and that is why it's been such a big success. And it also hits on the SUV note, which was the reason perhaps for some of its big success, and also its good reception here in India. And you know what, MG just kind of takes that to the next level by going even more obviously SUV with the ZS. That's not a bad thing either. So which car wins, you might ask? And you know what, I know a lot of people are going to say I am comparing apples with oranges, because they're not really exactly the same kind of product. It's true, but to the buyer, this is pretty much what you're going to get to choose from. And so in that sense, I have to say that I will go with the ZS. Why? It's the bigger car. It's also the more obviously SUV looking car, and that's something that the buyer will certainly pick up on in terms of real world driving range, and also the internet inside tag, panoramic sunroof if you want to add that. Yes, it just does a lot more. But then, you know what, we'd hopefully have a situation where we just have a lot more options in the EV space, and hopefully that happens soon. We could have different body styles, we could have different sizes, different driving ranges, different price points as well. But while I'm talking about an ideal world, then you know what, in an ideal world, that's the kind of urban EV I would like to drive, because it would give you snob value, it would give you the green tag, and it would also give you extremely sporty driving with a nice small urban footprint. There is a reason why the i3 won World Urban Car of the Year, and before that even the World Green Car of the Year. But all of this is academic, because of course this car has not launched and is not launching in the Indian market anytime soon. So it was a bit of a joke there at the end with the i3S, do forgive me. And for those of you who don't remember my i3S drive here in India, well, here's a little bit of a recap so that you understand what makes that car so credible. The i3S is way sportier looking, quirky still though, and with it BMW launched the facelift on the entire i3 range. The car looks edgier and sexier and more muscular now. I had driven the red in Portugal, which looks very, very nice. You can opt for white with blue accents, dark blue, black, a bright blue or grey also. Inside, the car is very sexy. It uses sustainable materials, has that very sexy vibe with its fabric door panels, contoured dash, and those suicide doors at the rear are a nice inviting touch. The touchscreen with the latest BMW iDrive and the instrument cluster screen are impeccably finished. And yes, you can opt for high-end features like a swankier sound system, sunroof, or even smartphone connectivity options. So what are the changes that BMW has made to go from the i3 to the i3S? Well, fatter tires for one, relatively speaking. And then of course, stiffer dampers, springs and anti-roll bars. Now, that has to be taken in context because they aren't active dampers, and so that means that when you do flick it into sport mode, it's not like the ride quality changes dramatically. What does change is, of course, you get a nice stiffer feeling in the steering for sure. Besides that, the car surges forward. There's instant change in the acceleration and throttle response, and on that little screen up front, the driving range suddenly drops. The i3S gets 14 horses extra power and a 20 Nm booster shot of torque over the regular i3. It also has increased acceleration, as you just saw. The drive modes are Sport, Comfort, Eco Pro, like any BMW, but there's also Eco Pro Plus, which shuts off some comforts like even the air conditioning to give you more range. Luckily, you can still accelerate relatively quickly, but then top speed gets limited to 90 km/h. Now, handling and cornering, not quite as sporty as you expect from a BMW, but then this is a BMW i, and from that perspective you won't be disappointed. It's really the acceleration that's the big takeaway and the fun factor on this car, especially in sport mode. I mean, you just need to tap the thing and it goes. Take your foot off the gas though, and it decelerates quickly enough too, so get used to that. It's a nice sort of a safe way to drive too. The car is nimble, agile and surprisingly fun even in city traffic. And that's the part it's meant to play. In a city like Delhi or Mumbai, even with the mind-numbing traffic congestion and jams, an over 150 kilometers range on a full charge could work out. Now, none of the cars here on my shelf unfortunately are electric, they're all ICE. But that's going to change soon, I'm sure. It's going to be the same in the market too. And in fact, let me tell you that maybe the demand for EVs, because everybody might want more sustainable products after this crisis, that demand might actually pick up much faster than what was first initially envisaged. And that's the kind of idea that I got from Rajiv Chhabra from MG, who incidentally and coincidentally guest authored for us this week. He had a guest editorial on our site, so please go ahead, read that editorial. He makes some interesting points. I'd love to know what you think about that. Let's take a short break. We come back with another EV. Welcome back. This is CNB. Now, one of the things that I have enjoyed during this lockdown is the chance to be able to interact more with you. So we've been trying all sorts of online engagement. Thank you for those of you who have sort of put up with my experiments and supported a lot of it. I love reaching out and I love hearing from you. So I promise to continue to do more of that for those who care. And for those who haven't yet tried out what that can feel like and how exciting that can be, I can tell you it's nice. It's nice to be able to talk to each other. So please do join me. And in fact, that's what we do here at CNB. So even at the Auto Expo in February, I had a little online contest where we thought we'll get one of you to be a lucky winner to enjoy a joyride with me on the Nexon EV. Remember, at the Auto Expo, Tata Motors had this pavilion, cars running around. And so it was great to see that participation from you. And here's what happened.
The 2020 Auto Expo may have been a bit lukewarm, but it did still have its own fair share of innovation and fun, especially interesting ways to engage with the audience. At the Tata Motors Pavilion was one such activity. Tata had a dynamic pavilion with these Nexon EVs moving about on this specially constructed ramp above the pavilion. And what's more, visitors to the expo had the chance to enter a contest and get a chance to experience the Nexon EV, be taken for a joyride in it. And that led to another idea. Why not have a quick contest on Twitter and get one lucky car and bike follower visiting the Auto Expo to join Siddharth on another drive?
So I got to drive the car, but then, you know what, a couple of days ago, I put it out on social media that maybe one of you who's visiting the expo might also want to come and take that ride with me. And so the lucky winner of that is Nikhil, who's here. Hi, welcome, congrats. And as you can see, there's a big line, but we get to skip it. Come. All right, so lucky privilege. You can see there are lots of information about the car. And of course, that's the car. Have you seen the Nexon EV till now? From so close? So yeah, first time in a Nexon EV. Happy?
Yeah, very much.
So, Nikhil is a dentist from Jalgaon in Maharashtra. He's a self-confessed auto enthusiast and massive CNB fan. This is not the first time that he'd flown into Delhi just for the day, simply to get a look in at the Auto Expo. Yep, he was here last time as well.
Facebook public voting, Tata got the highest votes, best pavilion.
This private is huge.
It is the biggest, actually. It's some crazy, some 5,600 square feet or something.
His favorite car at the Tata Pavilion, by the way, was the Sierra EV concept because it reminded him of the old Sierra, and he really wishes that this concept SUV goes into production. And guess what? It is something Siddharth is also wishing for. We at Car and Bike always try our best to engage with our readers, our viewers, and on few occasions when we get to meet them in person, the idea is to try and give them a memorable experience. And luckily, since this is before the era of social distancing, a nice handshake was very much in order. So remember, for the best automotive news and reviews, keep logging on to carandbike.com, and rest assured that we will come back with another interesting contest and engagement activity very soon.
So yes, plenty more contests and engagements that will continue from Car and Bike. It's a promise. And even the next few days, we'll continue to bring you lots of engagement as much as we can and fresh content as much as we can as we continue to work from home through this lockdown. Please stay safe. Please do try and stay home, because that's one thing you can do for yourself, for your loved ones, yes, for the country too. And if you do need to step out for your essentials, please do it judiciously. Please wear your seatbelts, please wear your helmets if you do that, and just stay positive. Write into us, tell us what you want us to do, how we can help. We would love to do that. So thank you again for watching. Please stay safe, stay healthy. Bye-bye.